Tommy, 5 games left in the season for most teams in the league. Yep. So we were given the enormous responsibility of playing around with a table predictor website, which was incredible fun. So we've got our projected top 6s for both of us. I should preface this whole discussion by saying this is the A-League, so who the hell knows?
It's very easy to look like a fool doing this.
Incredibly easy. We do it every week, believe it or not. But it's funny because if you sat here and you thought, well, I think this team's going to finish in the top 6 in this position, but you actually go through trying to predict the results in the games that are left, you might end up with 2 different sort of situations, and I certainly did. But let's start with your top 6, Tommy. Talk me through it.
So I had Auckland, with obviously 7 points ahead at the moment. I think that they're too far ahead, and I think that they'll maintain that lead and go on to win the title. I did have Melbourne City leapfrogging Western United. I think that Melbourne City's got a pretty good run home from here. And ultimately, I have Sydney FC just pipping Adelaide for 6th spot. And I think that, the Sydney FC Adelaide one was the one I kept playing with the most. And I think that the game this weekend is going to go a long way into proving me right or wrong, I think.
Yeah, and me right or wrong as well, to be honest. We'll talk more about that game specifically.
Yeah.
But mine is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I think the only significant difference we have here is that I've got Adelaide ahead of Sydney, even though if you ask me independent of, as I say, picking the results in the games, I think Sydney FC will just squeak in, although my confidence levels in them are dropping.
That's right.
But that's what I've got, which is...
It's interesting because as well, if you look at, someone like the Wanderers, for example, their next 3 games are against Auckland, Melbourne City and Western United. So, Wanderers are obviously capable of beating any of those teams, and if depending on the result of those games, which is obviously a very tough one to pick, it can change the whole picture very quickly. So, one result, we obviously said it, but you can look like a fool pretty quickly.
Totally. I'm pretty sure I put in a draw for the Adelaide-Sydney game this weekend as well, which, look, any of the results, nothing would surprise me. That is such a line ball game.
That is.
The other thing I couldn't take my eye off on both of our ladders is the goal difference for Perth Glory at the bottom of the ladder, which is bad. We'll have time to talk about their awful season later on, but it looks like they're going to set a record for the worst goal difference in A-League history, which is crazy.